Alright, so I'm making this to show how to do a super double opener. Like, what does super double mean, how to set it up. It's really powerful because it's pretty much 100% consistent. I can't think of a single scenario where you would just be genuinely completely locked out of setting it up if you really wanted to. Which is why I tend to use it as my opener for most things. So, alright, bad example. I'm just gonna start over again. Alright, so I'm making this to show how to do a super double. What does super double mean is probably the first important question. So I'm gonna set one up real fast just to show what it means. So a super double is any T-spin that when you finish it, it will set up another T-spin. So right here, I have the super double actually set up. If I clear this, it sets you up for another T-spin. As you can see, there's a T-shaped hole here. So if I continue stacking, you get 2 T-spins out of it. To set it up, you're looking for 3 main pieces. I'm gonna recycle. Here we go. So the first piece you want is either a blue piece or a square piece. When you get the blue piece, you're going to rotate it on its side like this and put it all the way to the left. That's your first step. Any other pieces besides the blue piece, orange piece, and square piece are going to go over here to stack. When you get your square piece, it's going to be starting right in the middle, like it always does. You're going to move it 1 to the left and place it. Then you're looking for the orange piece, which you're going to rotate and put it on top of the square piece like this. So now you've created this shape here. And this shape is the super double. That's what the super double is. From here, it's just stacking up everything else on this side. And now, we have our T, and we can begin the super double. To explain kind of how to rotate this piece in here, think of it like this. You're going to have to rotate it left, like this. Because if you use the up arrow to rotate it, it's going to go this way. And we don't want that. So you're going to use Z. It's weird to switch to Z at first, just specifically to do this one spin. But you get used to it pretty fast if you do this opener a lot. Think of it like this. Once you rotate it like this, it's going to end up like this. And then if you rotate it again, it's going to rotate. This front end is going to come down. This sidebar is going to come here. So the T is going to end up in this shape, and then place. Obviously, when you're just doing it, you don't think about that. You just do the T-spin and go. As you can see, if you do the super double right, you end up with another T-spin. And 2 T-spins back to back right at the start of the game is a really powerful tool, especially since, as you can see, you can usually combo off of it, because you've likely stacked up kind of high in the process of building it. So, now that you know generally how to do it, we're going to look at this left side over here, because stacking up on the left side over here is the part that can go wrong if you don't pay attention. So if you start with an eyepiece, the eyepiece will pretty much always just immediately go over here. And now I have my pieces I need to build a super double, so I'm going to do that now. So right now, obviously I could like place this here and then place my next piece here, but I'm actually going to show a situation you're going to end up in a lot. Sometimes you're going to end up in this situation where you're only forced with a red piece and a T in this situation. What you do is you place the red here, you take your T, and you're actually going to do a T-spin. You're going to rotate it like this, and then you're going to rotate with the up arrow so it ends up in this position. And then it'll place. And then you can continue your stack from there. And now you can do the super double. So when I say that it's 100% consistent to set up, if you look at this hand I have right now, this is a really bad hand to be doing this with actually. But if you plan it out right, start with putting this over here, put this here, I'd say. Now this is one of the pieces I need for the super double, so I'm going to put it where it needs to be. And I'm just going to slide this piece right there, because my next piece is my square, which, if you remember, has to go one to the left. The setup is not ruined in any way. So even with starting with all of the pieces that you don't need to do the double, you'll always be able to set it up if you play your cards right. So there's actually a lot more you can do with this, because you can technically set this up anywhere where, if you'll give me a second, anytime you see this shape where you have 3 wide down here, you can actually set it up by doing that. You're going to need an overhang on this block right here, which I'm going to attempt to create right now. And there you go. Now it's a super double. No, I actually have a hole here, so it didn't quite count. But you get the point regardless. Now, while we're here, I may as well show a super T-spin into a triple, which is a bit more of a complicated setup and is definitely not 100% consistent, but I have used it on people before. It is an extremely effective opener, and I'm going to go over the basic steps of it right now. The first piece you're going to want is either an orange piece or a square piece, respectively. Orange piece is going to go right as you have it, right in the middle like that. Square piece is actually going to go all the way to the left. The next piece you're going to want is this yellow piece, which is going to go right on top of that green piece. Orange piece, I'm sorry. Then you want the blue L, which is going to go on top of the square like this. So we actually have a T-shaped hole, kinda, but the overhang is too high. You'll see why in a second. The next piece you want is either a T or an orange piece. It doesn't matter which one, as long as you have 3 flat on the bottom, and this block right here is open. I always use the T because you're actually going to need an orange piece next. From here, I'd say best bet is to start stacking up the other end because it is eventually going to need to be filled up. The last step in setting this up is an orange, which is going to go right on that overhang I was talking about. So if you're paying attention here, you can kind of already see where this is going if you think about it enough, because you want a T to come down here, it's going to rotate, and then it's going to rotate again, and it's going to land here, and because it's spun, even though that this block isn't here, it's going to count as a T-spin, which you'll see in a second. So it's going to rotate left each time. One rotation left will put it here. Another rotation left will put it here, as if you're doing a triple. It'll fall 1 block, and then you'll rotate it left again, and that's a T-spin double. So, as you can see now, this is actually a T-spin triple, where you're going to rotate it left once, and then when you rotate it left again, it's going to land in here. As you can see, that clears 3 lines instead of 2. That actually counts as 6 lines, so a T-spin double is an incredibly powerful tool. It's hard to set up on its own, and in higher level play you'll see it more, but where I am at least, it's something that's usually set up deliberately. If you try hard enough, I can get one going just by way of probably like this. You're trying to create this shape here to fit the T in, and then the overhang's going to go right here, and then it's just a matter of filling up all the gaps. And now I have a piece to create that overhang on this square right here. So now the T-spin can continue as normal. Actually, no, it can't yet. This needs to be here, or it won't rotate properly. But now, rotate left, and then rotate left again with Z. Again, it's hard to get used to rotating with Z, but once you get used to it, T-spins open up a lot more opportunity. Because normally, you'd be able to just hit up and rotate 3 times, but getting them into those holes require them to rotate in that direction or it won't work. So you actually have to use Z. So I'm going to set up the double a couple more times and just do it a few times. so you can see generally the idea of how to do it with the various sets of pieces. See, this is actually, I didn't plan my pieces out properly, so now I can't do it. If I had not placed this S piece right here, I could have put the red piece here and spun this T into it like that, but I didn't think it out properly. So you can mess it up, but it will not be the fault of bad pieces, it'll be the fault of bad planning. So now I'm just going to show a few examples of me doing it in live games, just so you can see how it feels in a competitive sense. One thing that is really important to note is that sometimes garbage can show up. Hang on, let me set one up real fast. If you end up with garbage on this square right here, the T will actually fall a block too far and you won't be able to do it anymore. So now I'm going to show you a few examples in a live game. That's a great example of how much you can just overpower someone, because if you continue to combo off of it, you're sending more than the 8 lines you've already sent, and you can stack someone right out. See, there I have to actually bail on it. You can bail on it just by placing anything down the well. Well, I'm gonna lose this game, but if you just place anything down the column that you have the T-spin set up in, you can get out of it and just start down stacking on any other method. See, this is perfect. Jump it straight into the column that I already had, so I can just place down it. I hope that helped a little bit in showing you just like how to do it, what it means, where to set it up, how to consider your right side stacking so you don't mess it up, because you know if there's any holes at any point in your right side stacking, the T-spins aren't actually going to count because it relies on the cleared lines from the first T-spin to set up the next one, and if there's any holes, the lines won't set up correctly. So there needs to be no holes on your right side stack when you're doing it, so it matters how you do it. It's usually not too difficult, but as long as you can remember that occasional, like, pointless T-spin you have to do to keep the stack going, you should, if you play with intention and think out what you're doing, it should work every single time. So I hope that was helpful.